It's hot, and I could sure use a pool. How about you? You know, here in Texas, it has felt like it's been 100 degrees every day since May, and I could use a pool. And I've got a son who asks almost daily if we could have a pool. You know, he's the kind of kid that likes to just jump right in and get into the deep end and fully immersed in the water, and that's what he's looking for in these 100-degree days. Have you ever thought about people's behavior around a pool? Have you ever noticed that some people just like to get in about ankle deep and splash around, while others go a little bit deeper and get up to about knee deep and enjoy splashing around at that level? Many people I know like to get about waist deep, and they enjoy the view from that depth of water, and they can just kind of sit around and watch everything else going on around them. But most of the kids I know, they're the ones that like to dive into the deep end. They like to be completely submerged in the water. You know, I think God enjoys watching us have fun in the water. As a matter of fact, in the Old Testament prophet Ezekiel shares with us a story similar to what I'm talking about. Listen as I read Ezekiel chapter 47, starting in verse 1. The man brought me back to the entrance of the temple, and I saw water coming out from under the threshold of the temple toward the east, for the temple faced east. The water was coming down from under the south side of the temple, south of the altar. He then brought me through the north gate and led me around the outside of the outer gate facing east, and the water was flowing from the south side. As the man went eastward with the measuring line in his hand, he measured off 1,000 cubits and then led me through water that was ankle deep. He measured off another 1,000 cubits and led me through water that was knee deep. He measured off another 1,000 and led me through water that was up to the waist. He measured off another 1,000, but now it was a river that I could not cross because the water had risen and was deep enough to swim in, a river that no one could cross. He asked me, "Son of man, do you see this?" Then he led me back to the bank of the river. Now, the story, let me tell you, I've got a friend that's a children's pastor, and he was a children's pastor for a long time, and now he's developing discipleship material for children and mission opportunities for preteens. And one day he shared with me how God used this story in Ezekiel chapter 47 to help him understand how God wanted his ministry to look like throughout the rest of his career. So in the story, I read about water flowing east from the temple. And the important thing to understand about this is that the original hearers of this story, they were desert people. And to desert people, to hear about water was to hear about God's blessings and God's presence. And so they heard that as Ezekiel shared this story. As my friend read this passage about water going from ankle deep and then to knee deep and waist deep and ultimately deep enough to swim in, he realized that God wanted his ministry to be spent helping kids move from the shallow water of their faith to the deep or truths of faith. From trusting Jesus that he is who he says he was, to jumping into the deep truths of Jesus. From simply knowing about Jesus to being able to tell others about Jesus. And from simply following Jesus to inviting others into a relationship with Jesus. Have you ever thought about things like this? Do you ever wonder if there has been more to your spiritual journey? If you are ready to take your next steps in your spiritual journey, I would love to be there to help you navigate the journey from the shallow water by the shore to the swimming in the deep waters, to experiencing God's full blessings and presence in your ministry and in your life. If you're interested in talking to me, I'd love to hear from you. You can contact me at Reagan@LakeshoreBaptist.com. I want to share with you that this coming week, Lakeshore will be partnering with my friend's ministry to host a Leaders in Training preteen mission trip beginning Sunday. Please be in prayer for the preteens that are jumping into the deep water this week. Pray that they will feel God's presence as they serve in our community and as they share our faith. Ask that God would bless their efforts and allow them to have the opportunity to lead others to begin their journey of faith. And then these preteens are coming from Irving and Kansas and New Mexico and from Oklahoma. Pray that they would have safe travels as they come to our church on Sunday. And then finally, for Kelly and I, tomorrow we are going to go out Saturday morning at 9:30 to pass out flyers. We have one or more community that will have a mission site in their neighborhood, and we need to get the word out in there. So if you would come to the church tomorrow at 9:30 a.m., we'll go out from there. We would love to have your help. Church family, we love you. Look forward to seeing you on Sunday.